Alright, now that Komori is here to summon, let's see who is the actual best Libero compared to SP Nishinoya. Between these two, we'll talk about their skills and how good they are in different teams. But before that, don't make this mistake that probably you had with Sakusa. So if you do get Komori, make sure you go to the top contender event, get these, golden badges so that you can redeem it over here in store and, get these boost cards to level him up and max him out without spending any resources. So just a quick reminder for Komori. Alright, now let's talk about these two best Liberos and see who is going to be better. So we talked about Komori a lot. His stats and skills are actually the same as in JP, so buffed up compared to the other UR characters and on par with the SP version, especially SP Nishinoya. Now let's talk about Nishinoya. Probably he what kind of skill he does have, but he got a little buffed up in JP, and I'm pretty sure we're gonna get the buffed up version in global as well, because that will make more sense. If not, then he's just going to be obviously a downgrade and not that good compared to Komori. So over here he does have reflex up and receive up. So the red one is actually the new one's the upgraded version for Nishinoya skill. So receive will increase by 12%, and then over here if the opponent members do a crit play, Nishinoya will again get reflex up and 2% now, up to 4 stacks, and also will have 10 net crossings available for 10 net crossings instead of 6. And then skill 2 will again does a set skill, same as Komori, and then will increase his awareness by reflex times 100%, so whatever reflex you got. And then also cooldown for ally members set skills will reduce by 2 net crossings. So obviously your setters that have a set skill, especially their ultimates, will have their cooldown reduced. So this will be very good with SP Atsumu that we'll get later on, because he does have an ultimate set. And then skill 3, spirit will increase 25% now, and also when an ally member makes a crit play, the cooldown of foot receive, which is going to be his ultimate, will reduce by 1 net crossing. So this is actually good. So whenever you do a crit play, your ultimate cooldown will get reduced, so you can do ultimate receives faster and kind of sometimes maybe also back to back. And from the second use of an ultimate move, the spirit will increase, so you have more power when you're doing the crit receive. And then the ultimate, as I said, ultimate receive 260, same as Komori, and also his receive will increase more, so 20% more, so obviously it's going to be higher than Komori, and also the reflex will increase 20%, and then you have higher chance to do a crit receive. So this is basically what Nishinoya does. Mainly is going to be all kinds of buffs for himself, except this one, the set for your setters, but Komori, as you know, will increase the attack of your team with his buff, so mainly good. He's mainly like a more universal Libero that you can have with any kind of team, because you're gonna buff up your attack. Now this is like the whole kit around these two guys. So Nishinoya, mainly a defensive Libero for himself, and then Komori, well, I mean, he does increase the defense technique of all allied backcourt players, also increases the receive, so he's kind of more like a team player, because he will buff up everyone's receive and also everyone's attack, so more of a team player. Now let's talk about the teams. So I have Inarizaki Team here. This is going to be a separate case that we'll talk about in a sec, but in general, as I said, Komori is going to be a more universal player in different type of teams, and we have an exception, Karasuno Team. I mean, still Komori will be useful, but if you go Karasuno Team, especially with UR Kageyama and SP Hinata, Nishinoya has a bond with them and will be useful with the skills that he has. Now we'll go check the bond. So Nishinoya has a bond with UR Kageyama, doesn't have a bond with Hinata, but Kageyama has a bond with Hinata, so that way you can have all 3 bonds. So with this, Nishinoya's receive again will increase, his reflex again will increase, and also when you activate Nishinoya's special move, the ultimate, Kageyama will get 1 stack of competitive spirit. So this one is actually for his kit. With this buff, you're gonna increase the awareness of your attack. Also, if you do a crit play, you're gonna buff up your attack 20% more. So that's like the bond with those two. And then as I said, UR Kageyama has a bond with Hinata. So this way you can get like a chain of like all the bonds. So with SB Hinata, when you activate a receive skill, consume 1 stack of this competitive effect that will increase the awareness to increase the reaction or reflex of your receive. So do like this, you can do a crit receive. And also the competitive effect when it's consumed and Hinata activates the receive skill, his reflex again will increase by additional 9%, and Kageyama will gain 1 stack of this one that will increase the awareness whenever you do like an attacking skill, either spike or serve. And again, you're gonna get 1 stack when Hinata does an ultimate move. So that's the bond with SB Hinata. Now if you also get SSR Hinata, which you can with the select recruit, and skip SB Hinata, these two again have a bond together. So any kind of Hinata, any version of him will have a bond with UR Kageyama, and Kageyama will have a bond with Nishinoya. So over here you're gonna have a weird quick attack 280. I mean, SSR Hinata has an ultimate quick. This is going to be an additional one that you can again do an ultimate kind of like an ultimate quick, yes. And then awareness will increase, power will increase for Hinata to hit harder, and also over here when you score, the cooldown of this will reset, and then you will also gain the competitive effect, 1 stack of it over here. So with this, you're gonna have a strong bond like these 3 together, any version of Hinata, the SSR or SP with Kageyama, and also with Nishinoya, you're gonna have all these 3 bonds together. Komori doesn't have a bond with these characters, so that's why Nishinoya would be a better choice over here, like Karasuno Team, especially with these characters. Now we'll go back to Komori. So he has a bond with Sakusa that will increase their main stats, and also the receive of your whole team by 20%, which is going to be a super strong one. That's why if you have Sakusa, then Komori will be a perfect fit. Now again, as I said, aside from Karasuno Team, Komori would be better because he will give these attacking buffs and also defending buffs to the whole team. And now we'll talk about Inarizaki Team. So this is going to be an exception over here. Not an exception, actually. It's kind of like a special case, because we know Inarizaki Team doesn't like to do crits, especially with Atsumu and Kita, and mainly skill res 2. So Atsumu, if anyone does a crit, you won't get the 1 stack of precision. This buff that will increase the attack technique and quick attack by 2.5% each, so it's going to be 5% in total. So if you do a crit, you're not gonna get 1 stack of this, right? And each stack is going to be 5% attack. And then for Kita, well, first of all, he has the ultimate receive, and also when he does a non-crit receive by himself, then you can get 1 stack of reliable action. With 3 stacks, you're gonna increase the attack technique of front row players by 8%. And then skill res 2 Kita, if anyone on your team does a non-crit receive, you're gonna get this. So now, based on like the Inarizaki Team, obviously you want to build a team that doesn't do crits, so that you can maximize their skills, their buffs, their effects, all those kind of stuff. Now let's see which one of these 2 characters would be best with the Inarizaki Team. So first of all, Komori over here, skill 3. If you do a non-ultimate receive, so Kita does do ultimate receive, so you're not gonna get this buff here, but then Kita's ultimate is not back to back, so it's not like you will lose this buff every single time, and it's not like Kita will receive every time, right? So every once in a while you're not gonna get this buff over here. On the other hand, Nishinoya, if you do an ultimate receive with Kita, it's totally fine, but then you can't do a crit, so again here you're not gonna get this one over here, right, with Kita's ultimate. But if you do skill res 2 Nishinoya, this will change to when an ally member or an opponent team member makes a crit play. So this will change over there, and it's not like you are forced to do a crit play, but the opponent, if they do a crit play, then you're gonna get your ultimate cooldown reduced by 1 if you have skill rest 2 Nishinoya. But if you don't have a skill rest 2 Nishinoya, then this is going to be only your own team. And this is actually for skill rest 2 that I'm talking about for Kita as well. Now this is the ultimate receive, and then let's say you do a regular receive with Kita, so you're gonna get this buff for the receive up and also your attack, but then you're not gonna gain 2 stacks of the connect to next buff of Komori, because if you do a crit receive, you're gonna get this one, right? And this is based on like Kita doing a skill, like a non-ultimate skill receive. Over here, again, you're not able to do a crit with Kita, so it's not like you're gaining anything over here, but over here with Komori, you're gonna gain the buff. So that's one thing to, you know, consider. Now let's talk about Atsumo. So if anyone does a crit, you won't get 1 stack of precision. That's going to be 5% attack that you're losing, right? And over here with Komori, if you do a crit, yes, you're gonna lose the 5% over here for Atsumo, but then you're gonna get 2 stacks of if it's a crit receive, you're gonna gain 2 stacks over here, and then will increase his reflex and set, so he will get buffed up. And then if you lose the stacks, obviously you're gonna gain 2, so that you can apply this buff over here. And with this one with Nishinoya, if you do a crit, again you're gonna lose Atsumo's buff, like 1 stack only, like 5%, but then you're gonna have your ultimate cooldown, so that you can almost do back-to-back ultimates with your Nishinoya. But in order to do ultimate you know, back-to-back ultimates with Nishinoya, your team needs to do crit almost all the time. Let's just say like without any dupes. Obviously if you do skill rest to this, it's going to be a different case, but that's going to be 2 dupes of Nishinoya, which is super hard to get, especially as an SP character, or even UR character. It's hard to get them because we don't have the banana thing, the banana milk, you know, for the universal dupes. So you need a team to do crits so that you can always do the ultimate receive of Nishinoya. But if you have a team that can do crits, then Atsumo is going to lose lots of this buff, like more than 5%, right? And over here, yes, you need the crit to gain 2 stacks, but even without the crit, you're gonna have this buff at least 3 times. Right, so that's going to be the case over here. I think still Komori would be better for Inarizaki Team because of all his, you know, other buffs that he's going to give your characters. And we're just talking about skill 3, obviously. If you talk about skill 4, for example, or like skill 2, you're gonna buff up your other characters as well to do you know, higher numbers when attacking, and eventually gain the points. So like these are the comparison side by side between these 2 characters. I think Nishinoya would be better for a Karasuno team, especially with UR Kageyama and Hinata, a new version of him. With other teams, even with Inarizaki, Komori would be better. I mean, Nishinoya will also be okay with Inarizaki team, but I think Komori would still be better for Inarizaki team based on his buffs that he's giving, and also like the way that Inarizaki team plays without doing crits, which is obviously over here you need to do crits to get the ultimate receive of Nishinoya almost back to back, unless you have him skill rest too, as I mentioned. And also later on when we get SP Atsumo and probably SP Osamu, I mean we don't know his kit yet, but SP Atsumo, since he has the ultimate set, and then Nishinoya will be you know, useful over here so that the cooldown will get reduced. But yeah, that's going to be way ahead. So for now, these are the stats, the comparison between these 2 characters. Obviously you go for whoever you want. These are just my suggestions, opinions based on their kit and skills. And yeah, you do whatever you want and just enjoy the game. And yeah, that's all for today. Hope this video was helpful. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Write down in the comment section which one of these characters are you pulling for, what's your idea, so you know, we can learn from each other. And till next time, have fun and stay tuned.